Hey guys, if you really like this episode, please support our podcast by going to talkmurder.com/join and becoming a Talco Supremo. Hey John, I'm not entirely sure how easy it will be to find information on this guy. His name is Szilveszter Matuska. He's real old. I came across his name while looking into paraphilia because he has an odd one. I love your show, Cassie. Matuska. Oh, here's a quote. I wrecked trains because I like to see people die. I like to hear them scream, and I like to see them suffer. Oh well. All aboard!
Choo-choo, here comes a train. Choo-choo, here comes a train.
It's rolling on the tracks, gonna get there fast, yeah.
Choo-choo, here comes a train.
I could spend all day.
All right, that is a song, the train song by Blippy Music. It's kind of a Blues Clues type of thing for your toddler. I really think my nephew would actually get a kick out of that. But anyway, let's get on track with today's episode.
Welcome back, guys,
Thank you.
to Talk Murder to Me. Feels like it's been a while.
Well, considering I had no idea what planet I was on earlier today.
You were like Hubble when he got back from his trip to the ER.
Yeah.
Poor little guy. Thanks for everybody who's been checking in on how Hubble's doing. He got bit by a baby copperhead in our backyard on Saturday night. So he had a fun trip to the emergency room, got some anti-venom treatment, and now he's super Hubble and doing very well.
All right, shout out to Grace because she actually guessed the story correctly.
Ooh. Did anyone else guess?
No, it was just her from what I saw.
Oh, because they all knew that she was right.
No, I don't. That's why I asked you if you knew this story.
I don't even know what the hint is by definition. What's the hint? What does it mean?
This is a viaduct. It has nothing to do with water.
No,
the
it's
bridge.
a tunnel.
No,
She said it was a tunnel.
No, not the tunnel. That's a bad picture. Not the tunnel, the bridge.
Oh.
Let me show you. This is a viaduct.
Oh, like an upside down bridge.
What?
Or just
It's a train bridge. Guys,
Oh.
come on. It's a train
It's an
bridge.
upside down
Well,
bridge.
because like this particular one, usually the round things go over the bridge. This one, it's like an upside down bridge.
Okay, according to Webster, a viaduct is a long bridge-like structure, typically a series of arches carrying a road or railroad across a valley or other low ground. So it has nothing to do with water, even though a lot of them actually go over water. Here, let me show you.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
A lot of them go over rivers and stuff.
Aha.
You know, these are all viaducts.
Ooh.
So it's like
Pretty.
an aqueduct. Aqueduct is the same. Aqueduct is the same structure, the old ones in Greece, but they instead of trains, they carry water. All right, we're going to September 13th, 1931.
Ooh.
Shortly after midnight.
I believe I said 1930s.
Yeah, you did. And we did a goulash tonight.
Yes.
So what country, Nicole, is known for their goulash?
I guessed Hungary.
And you were correct.
Yeah! Right on. So far, I've got the year and the location. This is awesome.
What did you guess for the happenings?
I said it was a murder on the Orient Express.
Well, that's completely wrong.
Oh,
but
shit.
anyway,
All right.
so we're going to September 13th, 1931, shortly after midnight. A high railway viaduct, which I'll show you here in a second, near Betorbagi, which was 10 miles away from Budapest. Now, have you been there?
I have. And I've had goulash.
Tell us about Hungary.
It wasn't my favoriteest of places to visit, but the architecture was neat. I kind of don't remember too much because I had the worst sinus infection. But I remember learning about all the people that were from there, which I don't remember who was from there. And
What the fuck are you talking
the
about?
most like
I asked you to tell me if you liked it or not.
I didn't really like it, to be honest with you. Although that was where I had my first experience tasting calves' brains. Someone else ordered it, and it was like in their dish. It was like scrambled eggs.
Oh, are you talking
oh,
about
you couldn't pay me to eat that.
haggis?
No, haggis is something different. Haggis is Scottish.
Okay, so we are
Haggis.
going to Budapest, 10 miles away from Budapest. This is the actual site we're going to tonight. That's the viaduct that we're going to, that actual place. I'm putting I found these pictures like on Flickr and stuff like that. These are just random people taking photos. I'm putting these on talkmer.com. I've already got the post, so go and check these out. This is 10 miles away from Budapest. The railroad valley actually crosses the Fuzes Creek, F-U. The U has the 2 dots above it.
Excuse me, what did I do to you?
Fuzes Creek. I don't know. I can't pronounce any of this shit. September 13th, shortly after midnight. I mean, it's, nice, cool night. The train is barreling down the track.
Choo choo, here comes a train. Choo choo, here comes a train.
This is the Budapest Cologne train.
Oh, Cologne's in Germany.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So all these train names I've been noticing, I think they're just, instead of like the Orient Express, they just say Budapest-Cologne. It's like,
It goes,
ends in Budapest.
Yeah,
and starts in Germany or something like that.
Well, personally, I think that the best trains are Thomas and Percy and the other friends. Gordon.
What about Blippy?
No.
Very quiet night. This is kind of a remote village. There's more civilization there now, but at the time, it was not very much. And if you can see the bridge there, the viaduct, that's 82 feet off the ground. Shortly after midnight, a loud explosion occurs.
Oh, no.
Boom. This is from The Guardian, September 14th, 1931.
24 persons were killed outright or died within a few hours, and 21 were so severely injured that some are likely to die when half of the Budapest-Cologne Express was thrown some 90 feet into the ravine bridged by the viaduct by the explosion of a bomb supposed to have been set by communists.
Huh.
So the Guardian article here that she read says 24. All in all, it was 28 people once the remainder of the 4 died in the hospital. Now, there were hundreds in the hospital. Out of those hundreds, 28 died. Most didn't die, but they were severely injured. A lot of them were handicapped for the rest of their lives.
Wow.
I mean, you have a train, and you're looking at the viaduct now. You have a train that had barreled off that. You see that viaduct?
Yeah.
Look how that looks. Now, this is the picture of what happened.
Wow.
So I'm putting this picture on talkmore.com. This is the actual wreckage
Wow.
the day after. So you can see it's the same viaduct and the people that have died. And then it says a letter lying on a milestone and weighted down with a smaller stone was found 40 yards from the scene of the disaster. It read, quote, "Workmen, you have no rights, but we shall obtain them by taking forcible action against the capitalist. Each month you will hear from us. Our comrades are at home everywhere. Do not fear. The supply of petrol will not run out," end quote.
Yeah. That's just how I remember. That's how I imagine it being spoken as.
The letter was signed by the translator. That's what he went by.
He's like stroking his little twirly mustache.
It also says mysterious telephone messages were received at the East Station, Budapest, just after the explosion. From Copenhagen and London, a voice speaking in German asked whether an accident had occurred to the express going to Vienna and Cologne. You see, it's the same same column there, same everything. So it's the same thing.
Wow.
Same place.
That's a cool picture.
You see that it made it like 3 cars across the first viaduct
So was
passage, and it fell. And
So was the bomb planted on the viaduct or on the train?
It was planted on the train tracks
Okay.
right before the viaduct. So what happened, it was like an IED blast. This is basically an IED story before IEDs got their
thing,
name.
yeah.
But basically, he waited for a few cars to go onto the actual bridge and then exploded a bomb, which set the first passenger cars literally toppled off the ravine and smashed right into the ground. Everyone that was in the front cars, the ones you're looking at right there on the front in the picture, all those people were dead. The ones that were severely injured are like up here in cars 3 and 4. What you're looking at right now, the rubbish, these were train cars. These look just like these other cars before it happened.
It's like shreds.
Complete shreds. So I'm putting that picture on talkmore.com. So who would do this? The Guardian article mentioned communism.
And this is well before communism was like a real, well, I mean,
No, it was during the
different.
time period. This was the perfect time for it, 1930s. So World War I ended, and the Nazi Party is starting to take over now.
And I was thinking in terms of U.S., it was well before it was.
Oh, yeah.
Before
No.
MacArthurism.
Yeah.
But this was, since this is in Hungary, which, and I don't want to go into the history of Hungary because simply I don't really know it. Some facts about this: the locomotive and most of the coaches plunged off of the crossing. Several of them burst into flames, as you can see from the picture right there. Like, I mean, you can see the burnt wreckage.
It doesn't look like there's a lot around there, even in the modern day picture either. So,
Yeah,
like,
it's very remote. If you go into this part of Hungary, Bajocurbaji, I don't know how to say that.
Bieterbagi.
But anyway, that's kind of like the city, so it is more densely populated here than anywhere else. But the whole town is really rural. So, all right, 24 people were killed initially in the train crash. 4 other people died in the hospital. Now, I saw 2 reports. One said 28 killed totally. Another said 29. So I'm not really sure the exact number, but it's one of those two. 128 other passengers were very seriously injured. I'm talking about being handicapped for the rest of their lives.
Wow.
Let's go over
That's a
some
massive
victims.
number.
It's really hard to find information on this story because I feel like during the time, this sounds bad. Yeah, they were concerned about the train bomber, but during the time there were bigger problems, going on in the world. The society right now around Budapest and in Hungary the morale and everything was very low already. So people didn't give much weight to this train bombing incident. This is from The Guardian, December 3rd, 1931.
A new gloom in Budapest. This is the first of 3 articles in which a special correspondent of the Manchester Guardian describes the results of his recent mission of inquiry into Hungary. From our special correspondent, Budapest, November. Within a year, Budapest has been transformed from a living city into one half dead.
zombies.
All seems hushed and dreary now compared with the bustle of even a few months ago. Cafes, theaters, and hotels are almost empty. In the great restaurant, as the palatial and pompous as any in the world, the stiff-shirted waiters stand idly about. The gypsy bands play their wailful music, but there are hardly any guests at all, even in the lunch or dinner hour, when they always used to be crowded. There is hardly any traffic in the streets and hardly anyone buying in the shops. Even the last few weeks have been perceptibly deepened the depression that and have spread anxiety and a kind of subdued panic.
So it was pretty shitty over there anyway. But anyway, I did find a few newspaper articles with some victims' names in it. So I'm going to go ahead and read some of those. The victims of this, you have 2 English women, one named Heidi Turnwalls, and the other one was not identified. Basically, that's how hard it is to get information about this. There was an American named Rudolph Novotny, and from The Guardian on September 15th, 1931, quote, Mr. Harry Clements, one of the English passengers involved in Sunday's Hungarian express train disaster, died from his injuries in hospital at Budapest yesterday morning. He was a 32-year-old man, And he was an engineer living in London. And another sad fact that I found was he was returning home with his wife, a Hungarian fiance named Miss Aranka Medvetsky. And she actually lived, but she was in the same hospital with both of her legs broken.
Oh.
So, yeah. And that's all I could find on these victims. I mean, I'm telling you, the information's scarce. And another reason is the American papers didn't cover this at all. So, like, I'm looking at, like, The Guardian is in London. They're probably the best source of information I could get any, extra information on this. Because any other papers I can't read because they're not in English. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting, though, because there was an American victim. You'd think that it'd get some coverage. I mean, I guess it's different now than it was back then. And
that's a good point.
People are dying every day with the depression going on. So
So anyway, another victim, Miss Hilda Fowds. She was the headmistress of Gibbs High School for Girls, and she lost her life during the wreck. Before she became a headmistress, she was an honors graduate. And a little quote from one of the papers I found.
Her affection for Hungary took her to that country every summer vacation, and she was returning from there to her school for the term, which commences on Thursday. She was a keen supporter of the League of Nations and started a branch of the union at the school.
All right, so let's go over the evidence right quick. There was some stuff found at the scene. Number one, there was a piece of fuse.
Is that what, starts the bomb?
Yeah, so if you think of like a cartoon, where they had the big,
right?
the big string wick.
Like the Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah. So the papers were playing off the communist role, that this was probably a communist group. There was a piece of paper that was left by the scene. It was basically a little piece of scratch paper that was held down by a rock. Whoever put it there wanted people to find it. But it said, quote, "If the capitalists of the world do not give us work, we know how to make it." So,
ooh, that's dark.
Yeah, very Marxist, if you ask me. Like, what I'm saying. There was also a small traveling bag filled with nitroglycerin that actually had connected wires that was leaving from the bag connected to a small flashlight battery. So this is an IED, an improvised explosive device. I've known plenty of them damn things. Literally heard them blow up meters from me. They're not fun. And now the Taliban's putting them in trees, which I'm so glad I'm not over there now, because, fuck that.
Putting them in trees?
Yeah, they put them in trees. So, but anyway, only 5 of the rear coaches remained on the tracks, thanks to the air brakes. Okay, a university student from Hungary was arrested on the same morning for suspicion when he was seen photographing another railway bridge. Okay, yeah.
Planning his next attack.
Planning his next attack. Now, rescue workers, as you see from the picture you're looking at of the wreckage, they spent all night and the next few days cleaning this mess up. They worked all night and they used torches, literally torches. They don't have iPhones with flashlights on them. They had torches. That's all they had. Mm-hmm. And they would rappel down from this viaduct, the top of the viaduct, and try to get into the cars and pull the And now they're pulling dead bodies out. They're not, but they're pulling some alive out and most dead. In fact, 6 bodies and 12 injured persons were found in one of the coaches that you're looking at. So you find 6 dead bodies and then 12 injured but still alive. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
A quote from one paper that I found: "The difficulty of rescuing the injured was intense, owing to the slope of the ground on which the wreckage was piled up." And if you go to talkmore.com, I'm putting that picture. Let's talk about this thing that maybe Jen can help us with. It's a psychology word that I can't even pronounce right. So there is this term in psychology called symphorophilia. 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 Okay, so philia is like a sexual kind of fetish thing from what I was looking up. A symphorophilia is basically, in a nutshell, getting sexual gratification off watching major disasters and catastrophes.
Oh.
Okay, so here's an interesting article
whoa.
that I'm putting in the sources on talkmore.com. It's from
That
Scientific.
is a weird thing to be sexually attracted to.
I've never even knew this was existed. But
Because it has nothing to do with like a body part or like, no.
So this is from Scientific American. It explains this disorder well. The headline says, "I don't mean to be forward, but please park on my face."
What?
So it basically
that's
talks
awkward.
about, so it's almost like sadism, getting sexual gratification off torture and being hurt, or masochism, whatever.
But like catastrophe. I mean, there are some that like you could understand because they are still physical in some way.
Okay, Jen, you can read this since you're the psychology buff. There's nothing with dildos in here.
This particular paraphilia might fall under the broad heading of symphorophilia, originally defined by sexologist John Money as arousal from stage managing or arranging a disaster, crash, or explosion, or arousal by accidents or catastrophes. There's no telling how many symphorophiles are among us, but the next time you notice an unusually absorbed rubbernecker on the highway, check to be sure that both of his or her hands are on the wheel.
Whoa.
Yeah. Basically, this article says if you see a rubbernecker without his hands on the wheel, he may be rubbering his neck by masturbating.
Thanks.
We got
We
you.
got
You
it.
know.
We got the euphemism.
There was one person at the scene of this crash that survived. Quote, "I wrecked trains because I like to see people die. I
Whoa.
like to hear them scream. I like to see them suffer."
But it's sexual.
This is the crazy part of this story. Because obviously he's at the crime scene because he's getting sexual gratification off seeing it. It's not like he's
All the-
blowing it up and then leaving. I
He
mean,
wants
excuse
to
me.
see
It's not
all
like
the
he sets the
aftermath.
booby trap and then leaves. He wants to see it because he's getting his sexual jollies off when it crashes. He takes it up another level, though. Okay, this is fucking crazy. He's there at the scene. He just blew up the train. All these people are dead. Now you got all these cops coming up there, and instead of booking it like he should do, he takes a jackknife and he cuts up his face to pretend like he was on the train as a fellow victim. Which is fucking crazy.
Weird.
Yeah.
You would think that they'd be like, okay, time to go to the hospital and force him to go somewhere.
Exactly. I'm going to go ahead and tell you how he got caught, and we're going to go back.
With one hand down his pants.
Yeah, we're going to go back and talk more about him. But I just want to tell you how he got caught. This asshole pretends he was on the train. Then he files an insurance claim, which the insurance company was, trying to process all these claims of hundreds of different people. It's not that they didn't find his name, but he said, I was on the first coach, the first car.
Which,
And if you look at this
crashed.
picture right here, the first car is completely demolished. So he
It was
was
only
the
the last
only
of the
survivor. According to him, he was the only survivor out of everyone in those first few cars, which is impossible.
right.
So he is an idiot.
He should have said he was in the caboose, and then maybe it would have worked.
Exactly.
That's the back of the train.
Correct.
Because that is how he got caught. He got caught because the insurance adjuster or whatever said, hey, wait a minute. This guy, he either is lying and trying to get free money out of a false claim, and he wasn't even in the train to begin with, or
Avoidable mistake, dude. Like,
Exactly.
come on. It's like fucking gravity, like science. The first cars, it's only the last cars that won't hit the ground.
but keep that in mind.
Wait. No, but his story is totally believable. He was in the first car and he saw that there was a bomb, so clearly he jumped off the viaduct, and that's how he survived.
He was wearing a parachute.
Yeah.
Got it.
Just keep that in mind about why he did that. Okay.
Why he filed the claim, or
Why do you think he filed a claim?
he needed money.
He needed money? Let me get into who this guy is right quick. Okay, this is the man in question, which I am not going to pronounce his name right, but I'm going to try. He looks like a train bomber. This is one of two only photos of him.
Wow.
His name is Szilveszter Matuska. All right, so this guy is Hungarian born. He lived in Vienna at the time. He had a beautiful wife named Irene, a 13-year-old daughter, which I don't know if it's disgusting, ironic, or just plain creepy. But for her birthday, she gets a new train set.
Oh.
That's
shit.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Now, Nicole said that, maybe he filed the insurance claim because he needed money. He was actually a very successful businessman. This is his new hobby, derailing trains. And he actually built an entire studio. He bought land and everything and built an entire studio to map out his new hobby. He didn't need money at all. He was very wealthy.
Did he have any investments in the train company so that a tragedy like this would pay him out?
That's a really good question, and I couldn't find any. That's a really good question. He did have several investments in small businesses. I couldn't find any train companies. That's a very good question, though. He owned shares in several small businesses. Maybe not. Not much is known about this guy besides he was a very successful businessman, a director of a construction supply firm in Vienna. He was born in 1892 in the Hungarian village of Kazantivar. Kazantivar.
Sounds like something from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Now is which is now in northern Serbia. And he was trained as a mechanical engineer. He served as a junior officer in the Austro-Hungarian army, where his specialty was
Trains.
IED.
explosives. Trains.
Trains.
That's the back of the train.
The caboose.
He served as a local parish council. He was a very loyal husband and father. And as I said, ironically, for Christmas, he gave his daughter a toy train set, which I thought was so fucked up.
So how many trains did he derail or explode in his?
That's a great question, Nicole. And in fact, the next section is called Failed Train Attempts. New Year's Eve. Now, when did I say this was? I said it was September 13, 1931. So now we're going to 1930 New Year's Eve. Okay, so probably 8 months before. This is in a remote Austrian village. Now, this is the first known attempt that he's had because he failed at first. But, you know, like we like to say at talkmore.com, you know, if you fail the first time, try again. And it was New Year's Eve, 1930, remote Austrian village. For reasons unknown, he was walking. It was Christmas Eve. You know, his daughter's playing with that new train set, going around the track. Oh no, there's a ravine. Anyway, he's walking by himself. A strong urge came to him.
He wanted to tie a lady up on the tracks and have someone grow a fake mustache and go in the silent movies.
He said, I need to be present at a great catastrophe. 1 week later, after he decided to be at a great catastrophe, he was outside of a remote Austrian village. He loosened the bolts of the train track, which secured the track to the rail bed. And then he left a note, you know, how he takes that note and puts the rock on it. The note read, quote, assault, exclamation mark, revolution, exclamation mark, victory, exclamation mark. Those three words.
So he's trying to tie it to the whole communist thing.
And the papers really did buy it. If you see all the different papers I pulled, they all suspected a communist group, like a communist cell doing this, you know. And it was one guy, and he wasn't even political, which is kind of crazy.
Well, it was a cover-up. It was
he just wanted to get his jollies off.
Yeah. After preparing his ambush, Matuska hid behind some nearby bushes and waited. As the hours rolled on, he was consumed by the silent paroxysms of anticipation. As he would later testify, this waiting was the most horrible moment of my entire life. I have never suffered as much or hoped as much.
That's twisted.
What you just read was from a guy named Seth Lorinsky. He is an author of a very good overview. I'll put the link on talkmore.com. This is from his Medium post, and we're going to be reading a little bit from that. The train is barreling down the track.
Choo choo, here comes a train. Choo choo, here here comes a train.
That didn't work. The train actually just went right over it. I mean, all he did was like loosen the bolts of the rail.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Not drastic enough.
And like I say, if you don't succeed the first time,
Try again.
build a bomb. That was fucked. Oh, shit.
Wait, what happens to the bomb on the bus?
A month later, he tries again. This time, I'm not going to. Yeah, I loosened the bolts last time. That didn't work. The train just went right over it. So now I'm going to take a spare section of this train and put it across the rail, kind of scoot those, Bill Clinton obviously threw those bodies on that rail. I'll kind of scoot them over. I'll put the side rail like horizontal. Okay?
Okay.
If you guys don't get the Bill Clinton thing, go back and listen to
Boys on the Tracks.
Parts 1 and 2.
This crazy story cover up.
And just check back with us after you listen to it and make sure we're still alive.
A month later, he tried again. He put the rail horizontal across the train tracks, and the conductor saw the obstruction. Okay, that didn't work at all. What am I keep fucking this thing up? The conductor saw the obstruction and stopped. But now, guess what? The police know it's foul play, okay? They know someone is doing this.
How did this get here?
Exactly. And they know it's escalating. They didn't know about the first one.
Because they're all in this kind of a similar area, right? Like he's not going that
not
far.
really.
Bolts can loosen naturally, but rails don't just decide to flip on their own.
Yeah, it's not all in the same area. For instance, August 8th, 1931, he tries again. This is a German town of Güterbog. Güterbog. We going down on the Güterbog. Okay.
Our German fans are not going to appreciate you at all.
The Basel-Berlin Express train was traveling over a
Viaduct.
Choo choo, here comes a train. Choo choo, here comes a train.
When a tremendous blast tore apart 10 feet of the track. The locomotive and 8 passenger cars roll down this bank and into a shallow ravine. Now, this is what that looks like. That ain't that bad. This is them recovering it. No one died, okay? No one was killed. This is his third time. I mean, this guy sucks.
Maybe you should pick up another hobby, bro. Killing people clearly isn't your jam.
Also, where is he hiding to watch all this happen?
He's right by it. He's
I know, but
in the
he's
bushes.
all right, got his hand on his junk, ready to go. I just don't.
Yeah, he's
this is crazy.
Come on, chugga 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 chugga. That was so fucked up.
That was never gonna get that. It's burned into my brain. So instead, I'm just gonna sing. Everybody's doing the brand new dance now. Come on,
you should have seen my hand movements, people out there. There was a copy of a newspaper, section of the newspaper, called the Der Angriff. That's supposed to be German. Der Angriff. It means the attack in American, which was
in American.
The Der Angriff was actually a part of Nazi Berlin's regional office.
Oh.
That newspaper clipping was found really close to the site. So obviously, all of these newspapers are reporting communism. A reward of 100,000 Reichsmarks were offered for information leading to the arrest.
It probably equals out to about 200,000 doubloons.
Now, let's talk about the arrest and the trial. This is a photo of Matsuki Szilveszter getting arrested.
So he's got a beard now.
Putting down talk murder. Yes, exactly. He grew a beard. He also said, as a teenager, this is the first time we're seeing who the hell this guy is. He's in trial testifying, for himself. As a teenager, he claims that he had a strange encounter with a carnival hypnotist that had put him under a trance, which invited an oppressive demon named Leo into his body, kind of like the son of Sam. Now, the spirit Leo had an obsession with train wrecks, This is what he's telling the jurors.
But why didn't it start sooner then?
Right.
Because when he was walking on the tracks at New Year's Eve and then he had an epiphany. Oh, maybe I should... Epiphany. He was like, maybe I should be at a great catastrophe. That's when Leo came up. It was like, yo, I've been in your body for like all these years, man.
Yo,
like, I want to
dog.
see this train. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but aside from that story, why did he start it so late? He still had an epiphany later? Like,
I don't know why he started so late. Well, maybe this will help you. The prosecutors and the court amassed a huge collection of evidence against this guy. I mean, they got everything. Now, one of the prime things they brought out as evidence was, and I'm going to read this from the Medium article. Apparently, a later forensic examination of the trousers Matsuki had worn on the night of the disaster revealed evidence that he had found sexual relief, ejaculation, at the moment of the crash.
How do they know at the moment of the crash? Whoa.
An explanation later seconded by Matsuka's own unapologetic testimony. So in the Medium article, he says, he keeps referring to a quote, second explosion. And I was like, what is second explosion?
Oh my
And then
God.
it makes sense because the first explosion goes, and then as soon as the train crashes, you know, the ejaculate
We get it.
explosion.
We get it. Thank
you know?
you.
You didn't need to explain that.
Ew.
Crazy. And they actually pulled his trousers up at the trial.
But how do they know the exact
It's like,
moment?
look at this. This is semen.
Didn't he wash his pants?
It's like, touch it. It's all gooey.
Nope,
Ew.
it would be crusty as cardboard.
Ugh.
They can like break it in half. The pants.
So nasty.
It's
Wasn't
crispy.
that from So he admitted
Yeah, he admitted everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
after he realized that his whole evil spirit Leo
Yeah.
was not working. Okay.
so another very interesting thing about this case is he didn't just kill the 29 people on the train. There were 2 other people that died as a result of his actions that had nothing to do with him. What I mean by that is the sensational news called the anti-communist government in Hungary to declare martial law. And what they did was they rounded up all the communists they can find and the suspected sympathizers. 2 underground leaders, Imre Salia and Sandor First, when you know the U with the 2 dots above it, were arrested, and after their trial, now the trial only took 2 hours. They were communists.
Oh, wow.
Now they were arrested for being communists. The jurors are like, yeah, these guys are bad. Kill them. They took them straight outside out of the courthouse as these 2 communists are screaming at the top of their lungs, quote, long live the dictatorship of the proletariat. Okay, end quote. They were hanged. Right there in front of everyone. It was martial law. It's crazy.
We need to
they
figure
were
out what
communists.
the appropriate term is.
I think it's hanged.
As Europe teetered between the poles of communism and fascism, each of them promising the frightened masses a solution, but neither of them a bloodless one, Matsuka's acts of industrial-scale terrorism seemed like proof of a world coming apart at the seams. That's a great little writing about that. So what, this guy get executed? What happened? Anyone want to take a guess? Matsuki, the mass
Matuska.
murderer.
He is sent to a labor camp.
Okay, the train bomber served 6 years in Austria. He goes to Austria prison, serves 6 years. Then he gets moved to Hungary, his native land, and they convert his death penalty sentence into a life imprisonment. Okay. So he just basically stayed there till he died, right? He avoided the death penalty by going back to his homeland. And like I was trying to explain, all the chaos and crazy shit that was going on at the time, World War II started to happen, you know, is now like the 40s. Okay. He's like serving his prison sentence. And he actually escaped from a prison in Vach and disappeared. And no one has heard from him
wow.
since. Now,
I thought you were going to be like, and the army hired him so he could build IEDs.
no, it's kind of like Sade Abe. She
Yeah.
disappeared. Well, that's a good point you brought up. In the 1950s, it was suspected that he was, you know, working with the communist forces in Korea. on their, oppression team building and planting explosives because he was spotted. Some people had spotted him. But he was never arrested again, and he just kind of faded into obscurity, much like Sade Abe, the penis-snatching geisha.
That was a good one.
Interesting.
In the end, of course, Hungary's turn to the far right would have occurred regardless of Szilveszter Matuska or his crimes. But the murder and maiming of several dozen innocent passengers by a sexually unfulfilled crackpot served as a flashpoint, a uniquely modern moment in which can be attack on mass transportation. An accelerated news cycle and ambient fear collided to produce a shockingly ugly outcome.
That's the story right there. That's as much information as you're going to find on the story. If you really enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button on whatever podcasting app you use. If you really like this episode, you can follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you're absolutely obsessed with this podcast and want to become our bomber, go to talkmurder.com/join, become a Taco Supremo, get a badass t-shirt, sticker, swag, a lot of love. Shout it out all over the place. Tell me what story you want me to do. I'll research it, dedicate it to you on the Talk Murder to Me podcast. My name is John, here with Jen and Nicole, and until next time.
Come on, ride the train. You ride it. Ooh, ooh. Nicole, it's from Spice World.
Oh, that was cheating.
It was not.
Oh, you know what? Fuck, I got to go on the record.
What?
So I'm playing Words with Friends last night, and talk about cheating. I thought it was a fucking nightmare. I woke up in sweats, and then I realized that this is actually real life. She cheated, and she made a 257-point word.
What?
What was the word? Do you remember? Fuck no. What did it mean? You don't know. The word was atrazine. It was like a chemical compound.
Atrazine, and I used the Z on a triple letter. It was on a triple word, and I used all the letters.
And this was, it's not like at the very end where it's like, fuck, that was a great play. You beat me. This was like the second turn. So, like, I had to finish the entire game, another 30 turns, knowing I'm going to get beat. Because there's no way I could win. So I literally had to sludge through the entire game, knowing that it was just...
I give you credit for playing it out instead of resigning.
He really wanted to.
I wanted to resign. But last time I resigned, she didn't play for like 5 days.
John, let's be honest. How many Blippi videos did you watch today?
Just like 5 or 6.
100.